Hey, want to say thank you to our sponsor, Game Time. Look, you shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, yes, I said comedy, and theater events near you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHEAPSEATS, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHEAPSEATS for $20 off. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of View from the Cheap Seats, our look at the week in sports, a.k.a. the WEAK, the week in sports. And there's a lot week that we want to talk about. Today, we're really getting into the basketball of it all. Our guest is Paul Morrissey. He's a comedian, but he also played college basketball. He's a phenomenal dude. He's got incredible stories with sports-bent comedians and sports stories and stories. Tells us an insane story about him and Paul Pierce. That you just must running into him at a 7-Eleven, goddammit. In LA after stuff. But first, today, we're going to talk about this NBA in-season, early season tournament that they're trying to hype up. A month-long tournament in the middle of the thing, which is basically, we feel like, an admission that people don't care about the regular season. Also, maybe a reaction to the load management situation that's happening early in the season. They want this tournament to be akin to, if you're a soccer fan or I say football or soccer, English Premier League soccer. It's more like the World Cup or the World Cup or the FA Cup, or even though you're not playing teams from other leagues, I say the FA Cup because it's something that takes it over a period of time at the beginning of the season. So there's 6 groups. They've grouped the NBA into 6 groups. Six groups, and then there will be 2 wild card teams. Fine. You'll come out with 8 teams. The winners of each group from the group stage will then go to the knockout stage, much like the World Cup. Mm-hmm. It'll be a quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. The only game that won't count towards the 82 total was the championship game. There are prizes to be won, but it's just a way to reorganize the game. Yeah, the players aren't necessarily going nuts over this. Right. That's what you need in order for the fans to get on board. Buy-in in order for us fans to get on board. It's a multi-week thing. It's kind of hard to follow because you're like, is this a regular season game or does this count as part of the tournament? Does this matter? Do we obviously want our team to win as many games as possible? Do we want them going all out right now? There's so many questions about why this is being done. There are so many scenarios where this could fall flat and maybe only one where it can succeed. So I think the winner of the tournament should get an automatic bid into the playoffs. I think the loser of the tournament should be relegated to a lower. The loser of the whole thing should be relegated to the G League. Team. There's no way they'll do that. They'll never do that. But we got to put bigger stakes on this more than just like some prize money for these things, for these teams. Because you want the players to take it seriously so that it actually is an exciting tournament. I would take it more seriously if the players went all out and played. You know, the fourth quarter of the NBA All-Star game when they're playing for the separate charities and they actually play defense and they're actually playing
up
hard.
To a certain number.
That's when I watch the All-Star game and I'm like, this is exciting.
So they have to find a way, I think, to find that energy in this stuff. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what it is, and I don't know that.
So it's good that these games count towards your final record, so they're not meaningless.
They're not meaningless, but at the same time, it does kind of feel like they've created like the holiday of Festivus, like between Christmas and New Year's, and they're like, you gotta love it as much as you love New Year's. You gotta love it as much as you love Christmas. These people aren't gonna love it like that because that's not what it is. We'll see if it infuses some excitement at the beginning of the season, and I think maybe at the semifinal level and the championship level, there might be some excitement. And we'll see.
I was excited to watch the FIBA stuff when the United States team lost to Germany. Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I was
upset about that. But I'm watching that game with an excited look towards that. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, he established himself. We'll see what it is. I think right now, before we get into it, I see more scenarios where it falls flat than where it's a good idea.
And by the way, it might be that way for the first few years until they figure out what it's going to be. But I would like to see it turn into something.
We're going to see it. It's already started, so keep an eye on it. We'll keep talking basketball after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Paul Morrissey is with us. We'll see you on the other side of the break, and then a very special voicemail later. Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. As promised, we are very excited to have this gentleman on just because we've done this before. We've done this rodeo before with you, have we not? We've enjoyed ourselves.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but the great Paul Morrissey, and he's rocking a phenomenal Hartford Whalers hat, which he was like, this isn't even my favorite thing about this hat. I was a Hartford Whalers farm system Binghamton Whalers fan. How do I rotate this way? But it got us into a deep sports discussion. Paul, how are you?
I'm great, man. And it is known as like one of the best logos ever made. I don't know if it's like a truly, because you know, like that Gary, Indiana guy is the guy who designed the Mecca, the gym floor that the Bucks used to play on. Remember they used to have the Mecca?
Yes.
And that was like the guy who designed the I Love New York logo. Like, he's a real artist, and so they paid him $100,000 to design a basketball floor, the Mecca.
Oh yeah.
And so I think this Hartford guy was a real guy, like a real artist that they paid a bunch of money.
I mean, so back in the day, it's a great place to start in terms of like sports logos, in terms of this is so logos are like a puzzle that is kind of, as comics, we try and say the thing that we're saying in the most
How can you be
way.
Economical with your choices,
right,
but have them all mean something?
So the W and then the whale tail is like insane how beautiful that is.
Right.
Is there an H out of that?
Yeah, the H is in the center.
The H.
The H is in the H is in the negative space.
Right.
The white, see the white H in the negative space? It's so good.
It's
so
good.
The H is in the negative space.
This is like the best use. I don't know why we're.
But then I just told you I lived in Binghamton, so
Yes.
the farm team was the Binghamton Whalers. So all you do is just put the B on the side.
Just rotate
and
the
it's
logo.
Perfect.
And it's the Binghamton Whale.
Yeah,
Binghamton Whalers.
whales swim sideways.
Yeah. What are you saying? I mean, it's
But
like
then did you notice this one?
The Binghamton
Busters.
No, this is Dusters.
The Dusters.
So this is also a real logo that
Are that
you see this guy.
Yeah.
This is Johnny Hart who did the BC. He's from Binghamton.
No way.
And my dad coached at the junior college at Binghamton, and he did the logo for all the sports teams. So he did the Duster, and he's like, you can have it. So this was like the independent team.
The comic strip DC.
Yeah, or BC, yeah.
BC.
Yeah, Gary Hart, yeah.
I mean,
So that's pretty cool right there.
wow. BC, and then the Binghamton Dusters are BD.
Broome County, yeah.
There you go.
Broome
Dude,
County.
Let's talk, because I know you played basketball and you're a big basketball dude.
Yeah.
Let's talk the NBA.
Okay.
So in the top take of the show, we talked the significance or insignificance or what the message was of trying to do this tournament. This in-season tournament and trying to make it seem important.
Are you buying it as like, can they turn it into something like,
Are they trying to create a new holiday between Christmas and New Year's and sell it that we'd all get excited
like,
about?
how are they how can you see it be successful? What's the most successful it can be, or do you think it's just going to be a huge flop?
Did you see somebody said that the winner should get the automatic playoff spot? Like, just do it that way?
So stakes. I said losers should be relegated. That's what I said, down to the G League. But no one will ever buy that or know where they ever do that. So that's not going to happen. But
so winners automatically in. But what if like it's, you know, one of the top teams wins the tournament?
I guess that's a wash. But I mean, it's like the NCAA tournament. Like, if you're a 16 seed and you win the play-in game, then you're in. You know, or
you win your conference tournament, you're in. Even if you've had a losing record all year.
So one team could be a dick and throw the game, you know, go on DraftKings or something like that.
Yeah, that would be no. Please don't tell me that's happening.
LeBron puts $5 million on the.
I mean, I will say, and we talked about this a little bit, but I will say that early, if the Clippers-Lakers game is any indication of what these early season games can be, I'm not saying that, was that a tournament game?
No, it was not a tournament game.
Okay.
It was just a game.
I don't know how they're going to make this tournament something that the fans
will
get excited
either
about.
understand, or it's also a long tournament.
Yeah.
And it's not a standalone thing because there's games that are also going on. It's like it's a really hard to describe thing. It's not like an easy, like, all right, you know, the 2 weeks that we used to have off, we're going to have a tournament in those 2 weeks.
Well, for me, like, I'm I'm a huge NBA person, like even more than college. I love the matchups. I love the players, like just all the different, it's weird. I have so many different ties. Like I played college basketball,
That's right.
but I coached for a year. I was a TV sports anchor. I had the same job as your buddy, Rich Eisen.
Yeah.
I actually had his job with this ABC station in Redding, California.
I was going to say in Redding.
I had his boss, Mike Mangus, was our same sports director. We were both the weekend smart-ass sports anchor.
Did you have like a home run call or anything?
Man.
Good golly, Miss Molly, let's go.
The thing was, I was actually worse.
Shut the door and put the dick in the ass. It's gone. Drop the jelly on the peanut butter. That was out.
You should ask Eisen had a bunch of. He was really trying. Like I was still like, I was coming from sports and just getting in front of the camera for the first time. So I was trying to like not get fired, but still have.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that home run ball. We should do a bunch of those.
Just do as many as you can.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Magic Mike, get off the pole. Home run off the foul pole. Like a deadbeat dad, it's gone.
Here's what I did have. This was every Sunday. You would do the because I think it was baseball. There was a couple, like, for the 11 o'clock news, basically I would still be editing while we're on the air.
Games are going on.
And I think it's baseball. You can't actually show it until the game's completed. You can't even show partial highlights.
Wow.
So you might save like a minute and a half and then not be able to air those highlights. You have them pre-cut.
So then you like got to fill that time. Like a kid at theater camp. That one is out.
But then on Sundays, you would have to do the wrap-up. And so I was coming from New York, so I was just doing all my teams.
Yeah.
And it was Mike, who was like the nicest guy in the world, the sports director, who Rich worked for too. And he's just like, we're in San Francisco, right? Like they don't care about Giants highlights or I was just putting my favorite teams on.
Like this is like, hey man, you gotta be local. You gotta think local, act globally. No one in Reading cares about the Islanders. Let's be honest.
Well, we had the Giants. I was a New York Giants fan.
Of course.
And then Jason Sehorn was from Mount Shasta.
Okay.
He went to Shasta College.
Did he?
And so, those were the two guys that I covered in high school were Ricky Ray at Shasta. I forget. He actually played junior college. And then Aaron Rodgers, who played at Butte College.
Yeah.
And from Chico. Both of those guys played 2 years of junior college. We're good. Ricky Ray was by far better numbers, better passing.
Yeah.
Ended up going to Sac State. Aaron went to Cal. And so, like, then Aaron becomes, like, draft pick, everything. Ricky Ray, a little outside, goes to the CFL, does the whole, like, Kurt Warner thing where he fills in for the star quarterback and they win the Grey Cup.
No way.
Wins like 5 more Grey Cups.
Oh, my God.
Even comes back when he's like 40 a couple years ago, wins another one.
So he's like the king of Canada.
If you go to all-time professional quarterback yardage, Ricky Ray is ahead of Aaron Rodgers. He's like number 8. Aaron Rodgers is number 9.
His Achilles didn't blow up.
So, yeah, I mean, that's such a great story.
Yeah.
It's such a great sports story because, we met Aaron Rodgers and he was super cool and super nice. And you see him
funny and
you see him on Hard Knocks and you're like, everybody fucking loves this guy. He's like so lovable in so many ways. I mean, I know people hate him. I can't get with his stance on the vaccine.
Yeah.
And I would talk to him about that and be like, bro, you got to calm down about this stuff. Like,
right.
You do whatever you want, but like,
I know you went to Butte College.
yeah, and just whatever. By the way, I'm down with all the drugs you're doing. Like, it's okay. Like, take ayahuasca. Do what you have to do. Like, better than opioids for your, like, whatever is ailing you. Like, take the stuff that's going to help you open your mind and all that shit. But, like, I would ask, would you rather be Ricky Ray? Okay, so Ricky Ray probably doesn't even have near the money that Aaron Rodgers has. Not even close.
Yeah.
But Ricky Ray is
beloved in Canada.
Will never have to buy a Labatt's anywhere north of the border.
Right,
okay?
right.
Ricky Ray is a beloved person who can still have a life if he comes back to Shasta or he comes back anywhere in Northern
Doesn't
California.
want the fanfare.
Right.
No,
I'm
he
saying
doesn't
like
need it.
that guy can live his life If he's in Canada, yes, he'll be mobbed by
Can
people.
snowboard at Mount Shasta without getting bothered.
Right.
You know?
And it's like he is this guy who can live a life. Whereas if Aaron Rodgers went out to a restaurant, like he would be mobbed.
Yeah.
Like there was the Aaron Rodgers impersonator who got mobbed by people.
Right,
Remember that British guy who looked like Aaron?
It's so funny.
I'm just like, what life do you want? Yes, Aaron Rodgers is great. He's not the greatest of all time. That's Tom Brady.
And he definitely has taken a lot of heat.
Yes.
Along the way, right?
Yeah, the more famous you get, the more shots you get taken at you,
if Ricky Ray were to get an injury in the first game that he came back when he was 40 to try and win another Grey Cup, in the very first game, fourth play, he gets an injury, most of Canada would have been like, oh God, we're so sorry. We're so sorry for you.
Put down the Tim Hortons. You know who got hurt?
We're so sorry for you. Hey, help the guy off the.
Bring 2 logs in from outside. You'll never guess what happened.
And help him up. But like they would.
Where's my Canada Goose coat?
There'd be genuine love and empathy and outpouring of support.
Yeah. And by the way, any better quarterback name than Ricky Ray? No. That's it, right?
If you told me that Ricky Ray was the character that Will Ferrell played in Talladega Nights, I'd believe you.
If you told me that Ricky Ray was the third member of Morris Day and the Time, I'd be like, yes. If you told me he's the guy who holds the mirror that Morris Day dances next to,
he's saying Soul Glow.
Right. You saw that video?
Yeah, that's
that guy?
Great, man.
It's unreal.
He's been waiting like 30 years to do that.
That's not that guy.
It's not?
I don't think it's the same.
I don't know.
I think he's the new guy who's in his band.
I don't know.
Let's get confirmation.
We do have to fact check.
We need to fact check. Let's get confirmation on that.
But I felt like he hit that note.
He hit it. Yeah. Crushed it.
If you told me Ricky Ray has shoplifted more things from 7-Elevens than anyone in the history of Shasta,
I'd be like, yeah, probably. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers went down after 4 plays and he was clowned. Right. He was joked on. Yeah. People made fun of him. People made fun of the comeback. People made fun of the Jets. People made fun of every single thing. They went off on him. I'm just saying, there's like a life. Yeah. You be careful what you wish for. You ask the most famous people, how do you enjoy your life? And a lot of them say, I can't because of
who's the best. Like who handles it the best that you've met of like any famous
super famous people that we met. Zach Galifianakis, Jack Black. Will Ferrell, John Hamm. Those guys.
I feel like Zach is bothered by it. Like
he's bothered by it, but he is. Let me amend that. Zach has remained Zach through the entire process. He took his family and moved somewhere up in Canada.
Right.
So like into a rural area just so he could raise his family in a normal way.
Yeah.
So he has that was his choice get out of it.
But guys, like you see Keanu Reeves and like people like that. Like we did Largo
Reeves
with Matt Damon. Yeah. And like there's guys following him into the bathroom. There was people waiting outside and he was just like going with it. Like it didn't bother him at all. And I'm like, that's the best.
We did a show Sandler is another guy.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler
he probably handles it the best.
I'm going to say this about him.
I'm sure there are people who are like, I hate Adam Sandler's movies. They're not funny, or
I'd be like, go watch Uncut Gems, go watch Punch Drunk Love, and then come back and talk to me.
Yeah, and then come back and talk to us. I mean, the dude's like
Billy Madison. Still,
the wedding
sit down and watch.
I mean, there are Happy Gilmore. My daughter's friend, who's 10, her favorite, and she's into golf. Her favorite movie is Happy Gilmore because of that. Like they quote the movie on the course.
That's great,
and it's funny.
And then you see him, and we did a show with him at Largo, this Taggart show that we're doing tonight after we record this with you, but like this Taggart show where our friends do their sets and then we are writing tags that we then pitch them on stage after their sets in front of the audience. He was so gracious. He was so cool. He was so funny. Thankful, and he was so funny and weird. Like all the things you loved about it that we loved from the very beginning on SNL and Remote Control. If you're old like us, you remember
all of his stand-up from the early days. It's all in his stand-up right now. It's so good.
It still exists inside of him. You look at a guy like David Spade, like just it exists, or a Chris Rock you're hanging out with. It exists inside of him, the funny.
Right.
In every situation.
Same way.
What's funny with you guys, I always think of the sports ties because Colin Quinn's a buddy and his older brother was the captain of the basketball team at Binghamton University. Amazing. Where I played a year. That's where Tony Kornheiser went.
Yeah.
And so
is that where you cooked Bobby Sura?
No, that was in high school.
Okay.
That was like, it was my dad.
Cooked his
My dad's
ass.
like a Hall of Fame high school coach, and he played in college as well. But
Amazing.
he was like cutting edge as far as like, we shot a ton of threes in high school. Like, this is when, like, back then, if you missed one, the coach would like pull you out. So you just had to like make everyone that.
Who
you
was
took.
the guy on the Lakers who was like that coach who right before Pat Riley, who was like,
Oh, Westhead.
Yeah, Paul Westhead.
I got recruited by him.
Really?
He was at because he did Loyola Marymount.
Right.
But when
he was like a shoot it in the first 3 seconds, the first 5 seconds of the shot clock, put it up and put it. And it's like he had a different style of you had to meet that style.
And that team was incredible, man.
My God. They scored like 145 points against Michigan.
And it was like there was Jeff Fryer. I don't know if you remember him. He was like the guy who like. He made 11 threes in a game. Like, he still had the record until like a couple years ago.
Amazing.
So it was like cutting edge, and like.
I love that your dad was a cutting edge basketball coach.
Yeah.
So you watch Hoosiers and you're like, shut up, bitch.
It's so.
Like, get us some shots.
And we were just in.
I don't want 4 passes. Shots.
We just did that theater at Butler University where they filmed the final game.
Who did it? You and
Tom Papa. We were just out there.
Amazing.
And we and the last time I did it, I was on Bob and Tom, and I was talking about how I wanted to go to Hoosier Gym.
Yeah.
And so somebody messaged me on Twitter like, "Hey, I work at the gym. Like, I'll let you in if you want to come in this afternoon." So I had a rental car. Go out there.
Yes.
There's 10 kids from the high school that are like, "Hey, let's do a run." They give me a jersey.
No.
Like, I brought
Hickory?
I brought the jersey to show you guys.
A Hickory jersey?
Yeah.
How were your handles? How did you play?
How
was your
it was
game?
I think I wasn't in, I don't know if you guys, like, I got in shape during the pandemic, like since January. Like, I did my album in April.
Right.
So I knew, like, I'm gonna be on camera in a couple months, and that always gets you
sure. I better
motivated.
lose some weight.
So I lost like 10 pounds, and then since then I've lost like 25.
Amazing.
So I can't even look at the video now. The album I'm proud of, but the video I want them to like Scorsese it up.
Spit me out.
But it's funny during the pandemic. They it's really hard to get an indoor gym, and like I was lucky. My dad was a gym teacher. Like, even on like New Year's Day or Christmas, we would go and shoot around. Like, I had passes to go to the gym for study hall.
So you just shot all the time.
All the time.
Shot shots.
Yeah, I just lived gym rat.
Were you automatic from 3? If if the hand's not in your face, you could hit 20 straight.
Yeah, I mean, I shot 52% in high school.
What?
Which is like unheard of back then, but I only shot like 3 or 4 a game. Like, there was like a couple games in college where I was like 6 for 6 or 5 for 5.
How old are you?
Was when,
are you around our age? How old are you?
Yeah. I'm like maybe a couple of years younger than you. So you were like
90 to 94 in college.
Right. So
graduated in 90.
Yeah. So I finished in 97.
Okay. So 3 years. So I'm just gonna say there was a 3-point line during college basketball for us, and I went back and watched the old Fab 5 games.
Right.
They did not shoot threes.
None. Yeah.
So like you say you shot 3 to 4 3-pointers a game. That is a lot for back then.
Yeah.
Per person. Like, because the team itself wasn't shooting more than 20.
Yeah. There's a famous so the team, there's like a lot of you can Google Binghamton University basketball. There's a lot of bad things happen, which is why I left. They were on the cover of Sports Illustrated for like, I think one of the guys like killed his girlfriend and had fled to Russia or something. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of storylines, but
not good.
But basically, I transferred to this Cortland State University, which is where my dad played.
Yeah.
And so our current, like, we would do road trips with the hockey team.
Right.
And we were in the hotel, and I'm like, what is that smell? And they're like, oh, that's the hockey goalies, like,
pads.
Shin pads. Like, we're on a different floor. Like, how bad do these smell? And they really are terrible, man.
You're like, you gotta clean them.
And so that is Derek Lalonde, who is the head coach of the Red Wings right now.
No way.
Yeah. He was our
His
goalie.
pads
smelled
like
so
bad. Like
through the
literally like a skunk
Yeah.
had then
The
taken
whole
a
bus,
crap.
everything.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And those pads, I was just in Calgary performing. Those pads are like thousands of dollars. Like, you either like, do you want a car or do you want to play goalie this year? Like,
It was braces or a bar mitzvah for a lot of us. You want pads? You want a car?
Pads or a car?
Pads? You want a pad? What? Tell me, what was your favorite part about playing collegiate sports? We may have talked about this before, but I still like to hear it from a college athlete. And how is it related to comedy?
For comedy, it's basically the whole, like, I'm 5'9", so like I was the last kid on the bench in 7th grade, even though my dad was the varsity coach.
Right.
And so I fell in love with basketball in like 7th or 8th grade, and I just studied it. And it was like with comedy too, which I didn't know at the time. Like I would tape all the HBO Young Comedian special. Like Drake Sather was the reason I got in the his funny. Set with Spade and those guys.
Yeah, I know.
And
what was this great joke? When I think of my grandmother, I think of 3 words. What a lesbian. Great.
He did the thing about the roller coaster. When he passed away, if you've ever seen the movie Zoolander, the DVD has Drake doing commentary for like 2 hours. So
did he help write it? Or
it was his. Yeah, they wrote a sketch for like the VH1 like fashion awards. So it was him and Ben Stiller wrote it. He's the guy talking to him. Was like, why can't you turn left on the runway? Right. He's very dry. And so Mike Carano, the photographer for the Improv, he used to manage the San Diego Improv. And I looked on YouTube, and at that time, there's nothing with Drake on there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so sad that there's nothing from him. I talked to Fred Wolf, who went to Letterman with Drake the first time, where he did like a Letterman.
Fred, a long-time SNL writer.
Yeah, awesome, and wrote a bunch of Sandler movies, I think, too.
Yep.
And so Mike Carano gave me a Drake Sather like feature set from the San Diego Improv, like in the 90s or something, and he's just doing like, these roller coasters have all these scary names. The one I just wrote was Rusty Nail Up the Pee Hole. I don't know. It was just like bunch of throwaway.
Simple and dumb.
Yeah.
He kind of had a Norm Macdonald-esque vibe.
And those two guys, like Norm's my guy too. I don't know if you guys knew that. He's like, I'm not professing that I was like super close, but I had like 3 super awesome nights with him of just him telling me stories. And so I co-hosted Artie Lang's podcast for a couple years. And then Frank Sebastiano is a big Yankee fan, and we watch Yankee games together and stuff. And so I know every Norm story from 3 different
perspectives. Yeah.
So
like
it's
Norm will tell you it from his side. Artie to us also is another one of those guys who we always loved from New York. I mean, we felt...
Especially sports, man. If you get in front of him, he's an encyclopedia.
We'd see him and we'd feel good. And I love that he has crossover appeal to all comics.
Right.
Like alt comics and straight up like stellar comics only, and like everyone. He has that appeal.
I am amazed he is still alive.
Yeah.
I am amazed that Artie...
And he's such a good, like, even if you watch Crashing, that was...
Yeah.
That's like, he was
good
that
actor.
Whole show. Like,
dude, he's a great actor. He reminds us of our dad. He's very Belushi-esque, and he reminds us of our dad. And, I mean, just our dad was like a jolly fat dude who was, like, not as edgy as Artie and didn't do the drugs that Artie did, but, like, had a vivacious sort of bubbling attitude.
Did you ever hear So, I was working with him in San Francisco, and we watched the Super Bowl. It was the Seahawks and the Patriots one, where they threw the interception on the 1 yard line.
Marshawn Lynch.
So we're upstairs at Cobb's, and I'm just like, I go. That's like somebody was working there is like one of the waitresses or something, like, oh, it was a close game, wasn't it good? I was like, no, it's the worst ever. Is like, and I was trying to explain like what I would tell my mom. I was like, imagine you won $10 million. They gave it to you on an ATM card. All I gotta do is go to the ATM machine, put in your card. You're rich for the rest of your life. You're 1 yard away from the ATM machine. And instead of putting your card in the machine, you throw the card at the machine.
Someone steals it.
And then your worst enemy picks up the
card and
runs
and takes the money.
And then you get back in the car, and Marshawn Lynch is like, why don't you just give it to me?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, I would have put it in there.
Yeah.
It's like, I would have put that card through a motherfucker face. That's it.
And so I just come up with that, and then Artie's like, can I do that? He was doing Conan the next day. And, of course, Conan's a huge Patriots fan. So he's like, I'll give you money if I can do that tomorrow. So then I'm like, you know what? This shelf life has like 2 days, so like,
take it.
Go for it. And so, of course, he like destroys with it. And so that was like one of the coolest things for him to be like, Paul Morrissey, the only comic I've ever bought a joke from.
I love it.
Which was like,
Did he say that on the show?
Oh, yeah. Like, he introduced me like on the podcast as that. So that like makes you feel so good.
I love that.
Especially growing up, like him on Stern was always like the best, I
mean, he was great. I remember when they were looking for the next person.
And Jeff Ross was doing it, and Fitzsimmons did it.
So we just were at this comedy gives back golf thing, and it's all comics and industry people who don't laugh.
Yeah.
And before the thing, they're like, let's do a little joke. Like some people tell some jokes. So before the whole thing, we're taking a picture from and there's all these comics, and they're taking a picture from up on the balcony and everyone's standing on the putting. So Tom Dreesen, comic Tom Dreesen, like who opened for Sinatra for all these years and was like part of it.
He's a great joke teller and has seen it all and done it all.
So he
goes and grabs a microphone in front of everybody in all the comics.
I'm like the balls on this guy.
What was his joke?
His joke was in Vegas, the Vegas comedian.
It says a Vegas comedian gets a phone call from a woman
at like 4 in the morning.
3 in the morning. It says, I was at your show earlier tonight, and I want to come up to your room and do things to you. You were so good. I want to.
No, he didn't say you were so good. I was at your show earlier tonight, and I want to come to your room and do unspeakable things to you and your body.
And he said, "Were you at the first show,
the early show, the second show?"
It's a great joke.
It's a great joke.
And then Ray Romano, who is there, is then Jeff Garland gets up and grabs the microphone,
and he tells the joke of there's a woman who is there's a comedian who was opening up for Ben Vereen, and he was in his
dressing room and he was weeping. That's it.
That's it. Because he was opening for Ben Vereen. He was weeping. And
then Ray Romano gets up there and tells the story.
Ray Romano gets up and tells the story. Two Hollywood agents. It's such a great joke. I'm gonna get. I don't know if this is it. 2 Hollywood agents meet each other in the street, and one of them says, I'm representing Sheena Easton. Ugh, she's awful.
She's terrible.
She sucks. She's a mean person. She smells terrible.
And the other agent is like, hey, she's my niece. Sheena Easton. And he's like, hang on, I'm not finished.
Let me finish.
Let me finish.
It's
so dumb. But
then Fitzsimmons
got up and tells
like some
of
the Friars Club ones,
He's
right?
just got a great one. So I mean, it just was.
Yeah.
It's so good to be around, and that's kind of that.
So you kind of came from this sports vibe. I'm sure you made all your teammates laugh in time.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is like, being a 5'9" guy, you're making these 6'9" dudes not only like respect you on the court, but also like laugh at you.
You're the guy who makes them laugh.
And and a lot of these guys, you could as like I'd like to think they would say like, oh, he's like a coach on the floor.
Yeah.
But it's like you got to read these like I had like super shy guys that like were amazing athletes that you just had to like they wouldn't ask for the ball. They didn't show anybody else up, but you had to like get them going.
Come on, dude. Show this guy up.
Yeah.
Be a stud. Be a steamroller out there. Or I'm looking for you.
It just shows. You know what it shows you, which is so interesting. It shows you how. And Jay sees this with his son, who is playing freshman basketball right now at Notre Dame High School. There are the kids who have the talent, who are born with the talent of size and creativity and physical ability and the ability to. There's that. Then there are the people who have the drive, and then there are the people who put it all together and have the desire to want to, like, as Marshawn Lynch says, run through a motherfucking face. And if you put all those 3 things together, you then get the best players in the NBA. You get like a Tyrese Halliburton. The crazy thing is that you get a guy like this is what makes Victor Wembanyama. And I'm listening to like Paul Pierce talk about Victor Wembanyama. And I don't know if you've heard that clip of Paul Pierce talking about him.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, this dude is doing things now. And Kevin Garnett's, this is right there.
Yeah.
KG and Paul Pierce are talking about it. And they're like, this dude is doing stuff that like
none of us could have stopped
now before he even knows who he is. He's doing stuff that's unbelievable. They're like, he's going to be the greatest of all time.
But it is the crazy thing where it's like, that's how Penny Hardaway was. That's how Steve Francis. Like, it's like this weird thing.
But
of like,
Penny Hardaway wasn't 7'5".
No, I'm not saying that. But it's like it is. It is a long road. And by the way, I'm a Celtics fan, which is like the weirdest thing as a New Yorker. Like I'm a diehard Celtics fan, and
your teams don't make any sense.
I love that. Celtics. And my favorite player in the league now is Drew Holiday, who embodies like just what we were talking about, like defense, offense, gets people going, can make the big shot.
Milwaukee is hurting I can't believe this. We were like, what a great trade for Milwaukee. Now he fulfills a certain thing, and we're not talking about the defensive end. And his defense has been atrocious, dude.
Right.
And you realize what Drew Holiday actually did
Oh, did you see him guard Randall when they played the Knicks?
Yes.
He's guarding the center.
6'7", 6'8",
can't
6'9".
move him.
Right.
It's just like
because he's 6'5".
And by the way, you know, he went to Campbell Hall.
I know he went to Campbell
I live
Hall.
on Laurel Canyon. Like, so his mom works at the school.
Amazing.
The other two brothers in the NBA, but they're like far enough that they didn't get to play with each other.
Right.
So I think they both started for the Indiana Pacers in one game
Amazing.
like a couple years ago. But my buddy, I've got a buddy who played at Cortland State also, Justin Cooper, who does, you know, he does the skills training stuff. And so he was in upstate. So I don't know if his first guy was Kyle Herter, but that's one of his guys now. And he kind of took that leap, and he's with the Kings now. His other guy's Cam Thomas, who's
Is it
like
Kyle
big
Herter
with
or Kevin Herter?
Oh, Kevin, sorry.
Herter, yeah. Kevin Herter, yeah.
Kyle O'Quinn is the other guy.
Kyle O'Quinn, Kevin Herter, yeah.
And then Cam Thomas, who like had like 3 30-point games.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the road, and he's like, hey, I'm in L.A., we're doing a workout at Campbell Hall. But there's going to be a bunch of players there.
Amazing.
And he sends me a picture. I'll show it to you afterwards. It's Chet, Trae Young, Kevin Durant, Michael Porter Jr., Herter, like his guy.
At Campbell Hall?
Yeah,
with who?
at Campbell Hall. They're just doing a run.
They're just running. It's amazing.
And so all these coaches kind of know each other, and they're like, hey, I want to see my guy work on his lefty scoop going away from the basket. And so they're just like, yeah, we'll have guys.
Campbell Hall is a small gym. I've seen a game in there. It's cool. It's like
the team has never been good except for when Drew was there, or one of the Holiday
No, they're not
brothers.
good. And you know, Bryce James went there for like 4 games, a tournament this summer.
Yeah.
They are building an entire new athletic complex. I think with the whole
named after Drew, right?
is it?
Yeah.
It might be.
Because I think the Bucks actually donated the money when he was still there.
So the Bucks maybe donated money. I think LeBron, they were expecting him to be a big part of it. He leaves after 4 games.
Oh, man.
It's summer like tournament, and he comes to Notre Dame, and now he's at Notre Dame High School.
Okay.
It's insane. It's an insane time.
Hey, I wanted to tell you this story. So when I was during the pandemic, I'm trying to find basketball courts, lighted courts.
Yeah.
And so they're so hard to come by.
Outdoor lighted
courts. So I find 4. There's 4 great ones. Glass backboards. By the way, Chris Paul is the one who did all of them because they're LA Clippers glass backboards. Look, we never find on the East Coast because of the weather and stuff.
Right.
So lighted courts. So I find this one. I can give it out now. Is in Encino in like the park there.
Okay.
And so during the pandemic, it was all college players, international guys, like European guys I met they would do like a workout at one of the baskets for like a half hour. Then we would take turns. Next guy would go on.
Yeah.
And it was cool way to meet people, get a good workout,
Oh my God,
all that kind of stuff. And so let out some stress, but you still didn't play full court because they were actually like looking at, like they would take one of the baskets down if they saw that happen. So we didn't want that.
Yeah.
So then, so the next day I get there, there's like 40 people out there. It's Ron Artest,
No way.
Meta World Peace, and Mamadou Ndiaye, I think his name is. 7'7", played at Irvine.
Yeah.
So Ron is like me and Mamadou against whoever. And he's posting it on Instagram. I guess he got up to like 300 pounds. So he's like, I'm doing yoga all day. I'm running all night. Whoever wants to play against. There was even an app that you could sign up and run. And so, of course, like the next day, they take the rims off the court. So he's the reason that like I had to move to a different court. But isn't that funny? That's
amazing. I love it. I love that you're inside of all that. All right, let's take a break. We come back. We got quick hits. We're going to talk to you about how you can see your special.
Yeah.
Don't worry about his weight. All right, everybody. He looks great right now.
He's losing weight because he's being healthy, and he might just dunk on your ass.
That's right. He's dunking on in comedy terms on the audience. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. It's View from the Cheap Seats. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, I want to talk to you about something that we talk about with our friends all the time, and that is Game Time. I got my cousin Steve Schwartz onto Game Time. He goes to Vegas. He looks up on his Game Time app tickets for the Sphere to see U2. He got tickets at such a good price on the floor. He said it was the greatest experience ever, and Game Time made it possible.
So is your life crazy? Do you not have the ability to plan many weeks in advance when you're going to do something? Do you find out about, oh my God,
God, Wilco's coming to town tomorrow night. Oh my God, I'm free tomorrow night. I want to go see the Clippers game. Oh my God. And not only do I want to see the tickets that I'm going to be getting, I also want to see the view from where
so I know what I'm going to be looking at.
It's all in the Game Time app. It is so easy. It's so easy to use. We love it. It's amazing.
All-in prices show your total up front, so you know what you're getting. You're getting a good deal before you check out. Buy the tickets in seconds with 2 taps. It's the easiest app. Honestly, we have told so many people about Game Time. When we're not on here talking about it, we're talking about it with our friends. I'm obsessed with it. They have, by the way, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. This site is perfect for you. You need it on your phone. You need the app on your phone so that when you suddenly have a clearing in your life, if you're a sports fan and you don't have Game Time, I don't know what you're doing. We're going to tell you how to do it right now. You take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHEAPSEATS, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code, and use this code CHEAPSEATS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Paul Morrissey is our guest. He's got a new special. Please tell people where they can watch it, support you, and all that stuff.
So it's called Ice Cream versus Everything, which is true.
Killer.
I based my whole life on ice cream.
God bless it.
Never had coffee in my life because I tried coffee ice cream. It was terrible. So
it's my favorite.
So it's all true. And I got an ice cream flavor named after me a couple times, and so
nice.
I love ice cream. So that's kind of the basis
White
for
chocolate swirl.
What? That's my favorite part of. What was Philip Seymour Hoffman is? Remember, he's bad at basketball.
That was.
And he's doing Make It Rain.
Yeah.
Rain Man.
Rain Man.
The last one is White Chocolate.
and bricking it off the backboard.
What
so
was
hard.
that?
It was like a romantic.
Along Came Polly.
Along Came Polly.
Stiller.
Right.
He's playing with Stiller.
And that's
Super
where
funny.
he comes into the wedding thing and he falls down.
Right. Which, by the way, I covered Jason Williams' rookie press conference.
Jason Williams
the
from
original
Duke?
White Chocolate.
That Jay.
Yeah.
By the way, you mean Jay Williams? Not Jay Williams, who the guy who's now an analyst who got into a motorcycle accident, was the greatest point guard ever to come out of Duke. Not Jason Williams, the guy who shot a limo driver in the face. But Jason Williams, the White Chocolate, who's the greatest.
Who I have shown highlights to my son. And
the greatest.
Which, by the way,
it's the greatest.
He couldn't play. UB Brown really saved his career because he taught him, you can't, if it's the last 2 minutes, we can't have you in the game because it's either on SportsCenter or you're turning the ball over.
That's right.
It's so frustrating. Like Rick Adelman, it took a few years off his life. But I got to be, I did his press conference. He got kicked out of Florida for smoking pot, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So Dennis Johnson, Celtic legend, actually got him into Orlando practicing with NBA guys and got his draft stock high. So I covered it was Jerome James and Jason Williams. And I remember Jerome James didn't play basketball until he was a junior in college.
Okay.
And what'd you do before you played basketball?
Smoke weed.
And he goes, I worked at Home Depot and Lowe's. And the follow-up was, what's Lowe's? He's like, it's like Home Depot.
It's like
That's
Home
my
Depot,
favorite.
but it's the Home Depot of Lowe's.
But Ice Cream versus Everything. Paul has a website.com. It's on the Blonde Medicine label. It's an hour and 10 minutes. I did it at the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, which is this $50 million museum.
Amazing.
I filmed it on the set of I Love Lucy, the Tropicana Room. So
no way.
We did 4 shows. I did an hour and 10 or 15 minutes on all 4 of them, and I was like, I'll piece them together. But the first show was just
the best.
All the energy and everything.
You were
I needed,
probably natural and feeling good.
Ooh, that's so cool.
And I tried to tape, we even did a couple shows during the pandemic, and it was just you just didn't have it, and you don't want to put something out there that's half baked. And my guy was just let's do it right. Let's do it at this place, 4 shows. We'll
Dominic Del Bene.
The best.
We love him. He's the greatest.
All right, so Ice Cream versus Everything, Paul Morrissey. You can see it on your website. You can see it on YouTube.
The album got up to number 3. I was in between Nate Bargatze's album somewhere
yes.
on the album charts. So
it's great. That helps you. Dude, that's amazing. I love it. I'm so happy you're here. All right, let's get into some quick hits because some stuff happened in the world of sports that we have to go over with you. And, of course, some of it is basketball related. Okay. Remember when you learned Michael Jordan had a kid, and you were like, "Wait, what? He has a kid?" Now he's got a little kid who's not that little anymore, but like doesn't like
he had like a baby a few years ago,
right?
Oh, okay.
But he's got a son, Marcus, right? And
got a few, right?
Yeah, he's got a few kids, and you thought that was all the drama that would be, like that he has a son, Marcus, and then that kid, he's like a kid that Michael Jordan probably doesn't care that much about because he's Michael Jordan. He doesn't care much about anything. You guessed wrong, because right now. Then he started dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen, and now Marcus Jordan has revealed that
he's getting married.
He's getting married to Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
Oh my gosh.
Marcus Jordan is marrying Larsa Pippen, and that's says more about Larsa Pippen than anything else.
Yes.
That Larsa Pippen, there are so many fish in the sea. Really, Michael Jordan's son, who when you were with Scottie, Michael Jordan's son was like a young cat. I don't know, maybe you groomed him. I don't know what you did.
That's a Jada move right there.
Right? Straight up Jada move. So
man.
Run the picket fence.
run the picket fence on him. Just don't get caught watching the hair
boy grow.
dry.
Watching the boy grow.
Right. So, so Marcus Jordan asked Michael Jordan to be the best man. Like, Michael Jordan doesn't want anything to do with this wedding.
He might not even go. That's just to get the gift.
He's like, I'm going to do it. But like, think about that. Think about just all of is Scottie's not going to be there? No way, because it's his ex-wife.
He's going to start calling people like...
that seems like a Vegas Elvis officiated wedding. I
right?
feel like.
Or Luke Longley. They'll get him to come up and officiate.
Come on, Luke.
Bill Weddington.
You can get ordained somewhere, and then you can do it.
You know who's doing the wedding is Granville Waiters. The first bald man in the NBA that didn't shave. He just did it. All natural.
Mike Showalter, the great director and State former guy, his favorite funny NBA player that he always goes to, Fennis Denbo.
Oh, I love that.
What
Idaho.
a great player. Fennis
who's
Denbo.
the guy who played for Colgate? Who made
Adonal Foyle.
Adonal Foyle.
My buddy. I think we talked about this. We had I almost played for the Washington Generals when I got out of college. I had a couple of friends, and my buddy Nate O'Neill, who played with O'Donnell at Colgate, still the all-time leading three-point shooter at Colgate. He did it for a couple of years. And he said, combine my three favorite things.
Comedy.
Traveling the world, shooting threes, and playing no defense.
Again, to be the butt of a joke. All right. The three-point shot of Dallas Mavericks guard Grant Williams fell slightly off all morning in practice. Off the brightly painted Denver Nuggets court. Did you see that Denver Nuggets court that was
was it yellow?
No, it was like these amazing
crazy
colors.
red.
I saw the Bulls one was crazy.
I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, they did a whole thing.
Turns out his shot wasn't wrong, because as you're shooting a three-pointer, you know the distance of what it is.
Yeah.
Turns out that it was wrongly measured when they repainted it. This is the problem of trying to do a crazy court.
Yeah.
Is that
they measured it wrong.
They measured it wrong.
All they need to do is the scene from Hoosiers. Get the tape
They measure,
go to the top.
Same distance.
Well, so the distance to the three-point line was wrong.
Oh, that's what it was, the three?
The line's curvature was painted too far back, and the blue and yellow floor in Denver will be used for the NBA's in-season tournament, as we talked about earlier.
That's crazy.
It's Friday debut in time between the shoot-around between. And so...
Get it right!
He's like, Grant's like, I'm like, there's no way this is supposed to be this far. You as a shooter know, like...
by the time you get to the NBA, you've shot enough threes where you're like, that's too far.
He said everything was short, plus I could just tell from perception, either it was the blue court and it's messing with my eyes, which that could be a thing, too.
No. He knows in his heart.
But it's like...
You know the difference in your heart of a 20-footer and a 22-footer.
Yeah.
You put up that many threes.
And the arena, when you do play an arena, the background stuff does mess you up a little bit if you haven't played in that kind of thing. But, I mean, obviously those guys know.
They've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
You know how to, it's like driving.
No, he knew he was too far.
You know, my coolest encounter when I was traveling during the pandemic, there was a guy who had a NBA logo face mask on. This is pretty early on.
Yeah.
And I started talking to him, and he's a guy who builds college pro. He was building the courts for the pandemic NBA like in Orlando.
Yeah.
Like built all the courts. And I was like,
the bubble courts.
So this is your whole business, just making basketball courts? He's like, yeah, I built Chris Kamen's court, like had the biggest.
I mean, that was
court. Most people get like a half court in their
Dude, Mike Conley. That was my favorite thing in the pandemic.
Remember when they did horse between
WNBA players. This was like the worst thing in the world. Between WNBA players and NBA players, like they're doing it over Zoom. And like you see Mike Conley's got like a home gym that's amazing. And then he's got like a full indoor gym in his house. And then you see like a WNBA women's player
holds claw.
And it's like
she's
a garage.
No, it's at her apartment complex.
No, it's like a garage.
No, there was an apartment complex and some other girl was like, can I play? And she's like, I'm in the middle of game of horse. 3 other guys like, we got next. She's like, I got to finish horse against Mike Conley, who's got his own fucking gym.
By the way, but as Big Ten guys, so I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, he gives me a couple of the NBA face masks, like he's doing something for the Lakers, and he's flying out to the Midwest again, gives me his business card, and he's like, hey, you know who we just hired, who's my, like, they did a court at Ohio State, and the guy who works for him is Jay Burson, who was like my idol when I was growing. Like,
remember Jay Burson?
Big Ten, he had 44 against Georgetown.
Oh yeah,
and then broke his neck. I think
like in the halo.
Yeah, and so he was drafted by the Rockets, but never made it. But still made Big Ten like player of the year and stuff because he averaged 22 a game. And even Bobby Knight. I remember the late Bobby Knight bringing it up. Yeah. He the quote about Jay, he's like, I love Jay Burson because he doesn't have the physical attributes of the people that he constantly beats.
That's it. I mean,
story of your life.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. Paul Pierce, we were talking about, has not ever been afraid of shooting a shot. He isn't with rapper Ruby Rose, but saw a picture like on Instagram. She was like, you should be waking up with this hoe. A picture of like her ass. Okay. And Paul Pierce was like, literally messaged her on Instagram, and she's like, text me, and gave her his number. This is the best thing ever that like we know that like this isn't going through back channels. Like Paul Pierce doesn't give a shit.
Right.
He is like, I will do it out in the open. It does not matter. He does not care. He one time, this is so funny. He one time brought I
got a great one, by the way.
He brought a woman to like Kevin Garnett's Certified and introduced his former teammate to a woman he said he hired to be his girlfriend for the day. This is my girlfriend for the day. I mean, you mean like a hooker? An escort?
Yeah, like a hooker.
Come on, man.
What's your Paul?
So, like Friday or Saturday night, summertime, on La Cienega after the Improv, stopping at 7-Eleven.
Yep.
It's like maybe 1:30.
Yep.
Go in there. I'm a huge Celtics fan at the time. This is before they get Garnett, so they're not very good. Pierce grew up in L.A., so I guess he comes back in the summer or something. I see the Mercedes SUV, and then I see tall, because you forget how tall he is. He's
like 6'7",
6'8".
Yeah.
And just big, like tree trunk.
Dude, yeah.
And so this is back in the day, still the big
cell phone.
The what you call it, the thing in your ear. It was like an antenna. Remember, it used to be like the
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth.
The Bluetooth earphone.
But like the full on operator thing.
Yeah.
So he's just wearing it all the time, So he walks in, goes to the back, comes, and he does the whole move where he's got the gum over the condoms. Which I love. He's on the phone, got the gum over the condoms.
Yep. Safe sex, man.
Got the 3 hoes in the SUV
man.
waiting for him.
Can never be too careful. Don't want no baby mama drama.
Hey, you don't want any turnovers by mistake.
There you go. That's right. You leave it all on the court. Don't have anybody touch your balls.
Come see us, by the way, this weekend. We're at
tonight. Here's the deal. If you're in Springfield, Missouri, we're at the Blue Room tonight. 2 shows tonight when this drops on Friday. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows Saturday night at the Blue Room. I'm very excited to play this room. A lot of our friends have heard great things about it. Let's sell these shows out.
Tomorrow night, New York.
Not tomorrow night. On Sunday night.
Sorry.
11-12 in New York. Tell everyone we're doing our 2-man show, Identical Dads. We're doing it as part of the New York Comedy Fest at Theater 511 at Ars Nova, 7 p.m. Going to be amazing. It's an hour and 20 minutes. It's storytelling. It's,
cool.
There's a story of our lives about us being switched when we were younger and trying to figure out who we were, our relationship with our parents, our relationship as parents to our kids.
We talk about how choosing to be a parent right now is the most hopeful choice you can make in the face of hopelessness.
Hope in the face of hopelessness.
And we try desperately to convince you not to do it, and I think by the end we kind of convince you to do it.
That's right. It's just a fun show.
And worst gig I've ever done, craziest crowd, I did a mother of twins convention.
Oh my God.
and it was the rowdiest crowd that I've ever had.
I believe it. They were just happy they're out of not talking to their kids.
Trades, and so they're drunk and crazy.
All right, we'll come back. We have a voicemail. We want to play that for you.
And if you're a Patreon join our
fan.
Patreon. This is what you got to do. If you want to watch us break down crazy shit.
Our actors, as actors, we're still on strike. I don't know when this strike's going to end. Hopefully soon, but
you want to support people in a strike who don't have ways.
$5 a month. It's better than a cup of coffee. It gives you their content. We give you new episode of Cheap Seats every month, plus this extra Patreon things. You can see it a little bit on social media, but the full episode is there. We have a great video to break down with you. International bed making competition. You ready for that? It's unbelievable. We'll break it down with Paul Morrissey. Join our Patreon for that. We'll see you after the break. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Paul Morrissey, I love him. So great. I can listen and tell stories forever. We'll have him back during basketball season, maybe during the tournament, maybe during the end of the tournament to ask him if he even likes
the
it or not.
Early season NBA tournament.
Hey, we got a voicemail, a very special voicemail. You have to listen to it right now.
Jason, Randy, it's Christoph Waltz calling you to talk. Hopefully you're interested in the in-season tournament at the NBA. File under something you didn't know you needed. And here we are. And I'm loving every part about it because, it's a long slog to get all the way through the season. And this just gives us something to chew on in the meantime. And the moose-bush, if you will, before we get into the games that matter, which are not until April, but not anymore. And I love everything about it. The players each get $500,000 if their team is the winner of the in-season tournament, and the right to paint all over the special edition court surfaces that they put per city. They're very difficult to see. Dallas, they just painted it green and blue, and they let the lines go wherever they want to go. They bring a bunch of 6-year-olds in and say, we only ask that you put a few different shapes around the court in a way that's difficult to see. And I think it's enjoyable. And you don't know if the players understand the rules of the tournament or, again, how to play on these courts that are difficult to literally see. But everyone seems to be happy and smiling. There are 18 different groups, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. And so there's 1 to 3 teams per group, and the groups that are consonants play each other in the first round, and then the tournament ends in 4 years. I'm enjoying myself. Are you?
All right, guys, that is a show. If you are in Springfield, Missouri, we'll see you tonight at the Blue Room. 2 shows tomorrow night. These shows are going to be amazing. Nate Abshire,
our friend from Minneapolis, one of our favorite comics.
The show is going to be incredible. And then on Sunday night in New York City, please, guys, if you're in New York, we want to come see you. Get your tickets now. It's at Theater 511. Ars Nova is the name of the theater. It's at 54th and 10th at 7 p.m., 11/12. We'll see you there doing our show, Identical Dads. It's stand-up.
It's one of my favorite things we've ever done. So if you're in the New York area and you're not at this show, what's going on?
Come on. We'll see you there. Punch a waterfall, and then we'll see you next week.